Have you learned anything from your launch in the UK that you're going to use when you're launching here in Sweden?
That's a good question. What do we learn from the UK? I think that we learned that in the UK the internet connections were better than in the US, and I think we're going to see that in Sweden they're even better still. And I'm optimistic that's going to lead to a really great experience for most users. We've worked very hard to build an adaptive streaming technology that starts very quickly by using a low bit rate and then rapidly scales up the bit rates to a higher and higher quality level, but prefers to step up and down the bandwidth rather than rebuffering if your Wi-Fi gets congested, for example. And we think that's going to work especially well in Sweden because of the great quality of the broadband that people have here.
It worked great in the US as well. I tried it
yesterday.
Good.
In the US? Excellent.
Yeah, in the US. So just had to try the version out, so get a hands-on version before the interviews.
Excellent.
When did you realize that streaming was the way to go, and knowing what you know today, would you have started working with it earlier?
We bet on streaming in 2007, and at the time it was unclear whether it was a better choice than download and play later. And I would say that by the time we had released the product in 2007, we quickly realized it was a winning direction to go, and that the click and watch is a very powerful way for consumers to be able to choose what they want to see and see it right now without having to plan or wait or anticipate what they want to do. So I don't think we would have been successful with it much sooner, because I think everything had to come together. We had to negotiate the rights for a library of content. We had to build an audience of people who were funding the acquisition of library of rights. We had to build the technology. The early technology back in 2007, the DRM technology was very weak, and the platforms were weaker and smaller, and so it was much harder to build a good platform. And today, internet is better. The platforms are bigger and better. Smart TV, we've put that on the map, and we're able to deliver an application to some televisions from all 10 of the top 10 TV manufacturers. And those kinds of things make for a very credible product platform that I think is going to do us well now. But earlier than 2007, I'm not sure we would have seen it when.
A question: you're working together with Google and Microsoft to draft and implement the encrypt media into the HTML5 standards. How is that going, and do you think you will switch over to HTML5 if you can't implement the DRM into the HTML5 standards?
So we've drafted a variety of standards that support both the DRM and the adaptive streaming on top of the existing HTML5 video standards. We should draw a distinction here. We're already very heavy users of HTML5. The iPad application, for instance, is just an HTML5 container, and all of this user interface is delivered as HTML5. Similarly, the television smart TV apps are mostly HTML5 containers, and then the app, even though it's not a website, it's an app that uses the buttons on the remote control. That's all HTML5. But specifically, HTML5 video as a delivery, that standard is kind of open-ended, and we've done some extensions that deal with content protection and that deal with adaptive streaming. Those extensions allow us to use the same file container format that we use in our existing applications, but deliver in a more standardized way to a bigger variety of platforms. We anticipate that Google may be an early adopter and may ship a Widevine-based DRM component as a standard part of Chrome.
Okay.
We would want to use that on Chromebooks and on Google TV. But eventually we hope that that becomes a standard part of many platforms, smart TVs and what have you, and maybe even a variety of set-top boxes in a way that lets us deliver a complete application as HTML5 with HTML5 video delivery without needing to install or update anything. So that's a powerful direction for the future.